Alright, round one. Um, I don't really like this hand. I mean, Settle the Wreckage is nice and all, but I mean, I guess it is a way to climb back. If there were any one card with 6 lands I was going to keep, it probably would be Settle the Wreckage. But I think we're going to maul. We got to do better. Oof. Oof. God, that's ugly. Alright. I mean, at least our opponent mauled too, but man, that was ugly. I think we're going to attack and then just play the Emissary. Get our exploration on. Alright, definitely we'll keep that on top. At least it doesn't just let you draw cards. It is a thing. Like, you have to pay, you know, which is nice. Sure. So they're going to be able to attack us and loot. Alright. So we'll get in with Emissary. And if they want to pay 3 to get 2 damage in and loot, I'm okay with that too. Alright, looks like that is the plan they're on, which like I said is fine. That eats up a lot of mana, so... So, must have 3 spells in hand. Let's just get in with the Emissary here. Alright, so they're trying to lightning strike the Skyblade. I think we're just going to Vampire Zeal, counter that. It's a pretty good counter spell to it. Because it leaves us our best removal, which I think is actually pretty important. So I think we just walk the plank here. And then we attack with our Emissary. Because theoretically they could triple block and kill my thing otherwise if I don't use walk the plank, but this makes them still pay 3 mana on their turn. I don't know if it'll really matter. But then we can Slash of Talons, which is pretty nice. So we will Slash of Talons. I don't want them to loot anymore. I could theoretically kill them next turn with Dark Nourishment. I'd probably just cast Settle the Wreckage to get rid of the Raptor. Although, I guess we don't want to necessarily show them. It's actually pretty problematic. I think we're going to sack our Skyblade. The problem here is yeah, it's actually a big problem too. Well, I don't really want... I could settle the problem I'm talking about is they're not going to attack into an Emissary. Or with both. I think we still play the Vanguard. The thing is, if I draw a land... If I draw a land... kind of have lethal with the Dark Nourishment, which is pretty good. Now they don't attack, which is fine too. Let's see how they block. I'm a little bit curious. So let's let the first strike go on the stack there. Well, it's a bit of a bummer, but bummers happen. Nobody expects the first counter spell, and certainly nobody expects the second. I was kind of hoping they didn't have a follow-up play there. So I can Cutlass plus equip, but I think we're just going to hold back, hope they attack with both, and settle the wreckage, and then don't have a follow-up play. Yeah, getting got by the spell swindle is pretty sad. Well, at least they're attacking with both. I guess that's good. So they'll get a couple lands. Ideally, they don't have a follow-up play here. They do. Another problem is Pirate's Cutlass is not going to save my Vanguard from the Shipwreck Looter. Yeah, 2 plays too, and they're both good, so that's not good for us. Bloodletter, on the other hand, is pretty good. That will give us lethal next turn, so let's see if we can stay alive. So we're going to block with the Vanguard. And obviously not paying. So I guess we're hoping they have nothing. It's a big hope. Bummer. Getting got by counter spells. Are we going to lose to Unfriendly Fire? Well, got there by the skin of our teeth. We're playing against Counterspell Heavy deck, which really sadly is good against us because we have just a lot of expensive things. Which is not good. I probably just want the Duress for that reason, to see what we're having to play into. They have a lot of spells in there. Enchantments, I don't think we saw any that I can remember. Everything else probably fine. So what do we want to cut for the... Well, I want to actually keep our 6 drops because if I can duress out the counters, then we're fine. So what do I cut instead? Actually, not sure. I might just cut a Slash of Talons. Slash is pretty good, though. That's the issue. Slash is actually good. I could cut a creature. Probably still be okay, although I kind of like the Deadeye Tormentor, too. Making them discard their counter. We won on a Moldify, too. That's pretty good. I guess I could cut a Queen's Agent. I don't really like doing that, but... Alright. We still have 15 creatures if you include the Call to the Feast. And if they're going to counterspell something, countering our Deathless Ancient actually is fine. We can get it back. I mean, it's not great, but we can get it back, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, well... turn 1 duress is actually... Some people are anti the turn 1 duress, but maybe that's more of a constructed thing. I actually don't know. I mean, the thing is, if they're holding up a counter, it's nice to be able to have duress, because they left the mana up and you can just take it from them. But since I do have at least quite a few 1 and 2 drop spells, I probably just play the duress now and see what we're going up against here. See what we get to take. See what we're playing. So 2 opts, and then Daring Saboteur, Shipwreck Looter, Marauding Looter, and a Mountain. That's a pretty good hand. 2 ops. It's actually a really nice hand. So all we got was an opt, which is not incredibly good. And they put a card on the bottom. Okay. So they probably dug for a land there, is my guess, since they only had 2. So based on what we know about their hand, there's an unknown, 2 unknowns now, I guess. But last we saw there was no counterspell, so Slash of Talons can take care of the Daring Saboteur. So they're going to be able to loot. Oh, they have Frenzied Raptor too. Alright, we might have to settle some wreckage with that dude. So we know they have Marauding Looter. Alright. Well, hopefully Settle the Wreckage is going to get there, because they didn't play Marauding Looter. Now that I find pretty interesting. Oh, they wanted to do double Shipwreck Looter. Okay. So we know the last card in their hand is Marauding Looter. See if they attack into it. Either way, we're playing it, so I guess it doesn't matter. Obviously not ideal, but they played around it successfully, so they got us. I actually wish I didn't have to show it last game, to be honest. So, no more information that we have out of their hand. Play a Seeker Squire. That's good. We'll keep that on top, actually. We don't have to, but it's better than a land, so I'm okay with that. So I'm guessing Sure Strike. I'm kind of curious why they didn't attack with the Marauding Looter. It seems a bit interesting to me. So, Agent versus... I think we play the Deathless Ancient. Right now, I kind of want the guaranteed 4/4. because of the Stormfleet Pyromancer. Their deck is probably one of the best blue-red pirate decks I've ever seen. So we'll leave up the Slash of Talons. I wish I could do something about that. It'd be really cool if I could. So just losing against card draw deck. So it'd be nice if we could get a Call to the Feast off the top and they didn't have a counter spell, but considering they ran about 1,000 counter spells and they've drawn at this point 11 more cards than we have, I think that's pretty highly unlikely they don't have a counter. Alright, so we'll go to game 3, see if we can get there. Anything I want to do against this deck that just draws a bunch of cards. I wish I had something cool. I really don't. I kind of just want to bring the Queen's Agent back. I just have absolutely no idea what to cut. I'm going to cut the Zeal. I don't know exactly why, but it's probably because Slash of Talons can deal with Daring Saboteur. I don't know. Maybe I want to diversify. I honestly don't know. I'm having just too hard of a time deciding. But I feel as though I need more top end. I need more, like, you know, stuff to kill my opponent with. So, yeah. Guess we'll go Hoarder. It's more damage than Skyblade. If it trades, it ramps. Well, we can punish pretty good here if they pay mana. Or if they use a burn or whatever. Call the Feast is a good rip. So, do I want to play around the counter? I suppose not. We'll go Tormentor. If they were going to counter anything, I guess I'd want it to be the Deadeye Tormentor. So I'll let them play their cancel. I could also do nothing, but I don't love that. So I think they probably play Marauding Looter and loot. That's my guess. Well, Lightning Rig Crew is a lot less. I think if they'd had it, they would have played it. So that's actually pretty good news for us. So we can do the Emissary, or we can do the Call to the Feast. Probably the Call to the Feast. It's better use of mana here. So if we draw a land, we can Dark Nourish the Firebrand, which is pretty good. So I think we'll do that. Okay, well they are running Counterspell deck, so can't say I'm totally surprised. Guess I could have done that on their turn, but the whole purpose was to be able to attack with everything. I mean, I guess we've already gotten through 2 of their 3 counterspells, so that's pretty good. And we can play our 4 6-drops at some point too. Alright, that's a huge bummer because it's game 3 and this is the first time we've seen that. So, a little bit sad about that, but what can you do? So, hopefully find our 6-drops. We do have 4. Yep, it's gonna have to do. Hopefully they don't have Marauding Looter. That's what we're hoping they don't have. I'd much rather see the Shipwreck. I mean, it's still a bummer, but could be worse. So, it'd be nice to see that dude that we haven't played once. That's our Mythic, but maybe it's asking too much. Not sure why they're not blocking the Emissary. They're playing around something needlessly, but I mean it's good for us, but I don't know why they are. They knew we put a Vanguard on top too. That's good. Then we got one of our 6-drops. Especially that one in particular. I think I'd probably just make this trade. I don't want to pay the life. And now we can ride out this Deathless Ancient, so or attempt to. Yeah, it's a bummer that we saw, all 3 of their counter spells in all 3 games, but at least we can bring back the Deathless Ancient, so. I mean, I guess the good news now is they can't really attack with the Windstrider unless they have another blocker, which they could. Splashing for the Dark Nourishment is pretty fascinating too. I haven't seen that before. Well, they don't get to loot, so I guess that's good. That's good too, actually. So, let's get in there. Play Bloodletter plus Sky Marcher. So even 4 counter spells. More than 3, they have 4. Just multiple spell swindles. Wow. It's pretty impressive. So them smashing in is pretty terrifying. That tells me they have Sure Strike, so we're going to block. Which is a bummer that they have Sure Strike, but they absolutely do. Otherwise they wouldn't have been such a confident attack there. It's pretty bad for us, too, that they have the Sure Strike as their last card. It's not going to bode well. So, losing against the counterspell deck in one of the more aggro formats I've played is pretty bad. Hey, good timing on the duress. It actually gets rid of that Sure Strike that we were going to die against, so that's good. And they didn't even have it. My heart hurts. We're just losing against counter spells, man. That's a pretty embarrassing way to go out. Yeah, so then they just crew us and get in for 3. Alright. We'll see you in round 2.